Okay, hello, and welcome back to our City of Mist evening walks. And we're coming to the second case, Derelict of the Depths. Now, before we move on, why don't we see? It's been about, we'll say, a month or so since the Gong Festival went off, and David Tomas was uh, forced to evacuate the area by being a little bit startled to run across somebody who was able to quite literally bring the storm. What has been going on in that month, and what is Vincent doing right now?
I'd say Vincent's fraying a little bit. The store's still running and everything, but Vincent has become obsessed over the amulet that he used and is desperately sort of looking for basically looking for answers. Where did it come from? What can it do? Why did it help him do what it did?
And where did you acquire it anyway? Do you have that in your records? Was it part of the store when you first acquired the store, or did it come in later?
Yeah, I'd say Vincent's certainly looking into that, but hasn't found too much. Record keeping can get a bit spotty.
It certainly can, especially in a business like this. Okay. And what are you doing as we come into as we open up? What are you doing? What has been going on today, a day in the life?
Today has been restoration work. Vincent has let work pile up a bit too much and is setting the amulet aside in order to catch up on work, make sure he has plenty of money for food and such.
Okay.
Also recovery. He was still feeling a bit off after that incident and just needing some time to unwind. And Vincent genuinely loves restoration work. It's very zen.
All right. Okay. In the meantime, in this last month, Indira has been doing more of still been doing the human interest thing. Uh, the stuff she took photos of in the for the festival ended up being a very kind of a puff piece, really, despite what everything that went into it. Um, she did give a little bit of uh, the the monologue from the hospital after she woke up and was spent a day or two in the hospital after having a pole drop on her. But she edited out she kind of did some graphic editing to edit out the hospital and just have her edited herself into the foreground of footage she had taken at the fair or the theme park, and just turned into the whole thing into a sort of an amusing sort of human interest light thing that hardly anybody would pay attention to for more than 5 minutes.
Oh dear.
In other words, Indira was Indira.
Yes, I understood.
Yeah. Okay. But as currently stands, you're in there doing restoration work and getting recovery as well. And she is up there doing research on an upcoming thing as well. There has been a recent discovery that's coming into the museum uh, within town, the history museum, that's a shipwreck had been discovered from ancient. It looks like the the age, somewhere around the age of piracy or the age of colonialism. But it was a definitely an old shipwreck with that was drawn up with lots of different relics into it and all that, and it's being showcased at the local museum. She's up there getting ready to do research on it so she can go to the museum and do her own report on the exhibit and everything as well. And you're actually doing a bit of restoration work on one of the less important pieces that came out of it. They've been sending off some of the restoration work. What is the item you're doing restoration on that came from this shipwreck?
Let's make it interesting. It's a small jewelry box.
Small jewelry box. So far, it hasn't shown any particular supernatural properties or anything. But what has interested Vincent about the jewelry box?
It's silver with mother of pearl inlay, so it looks quite pretty. There is filigree work that's done in the shape of seashells that's quite interesting, and it's a little delicate to restore without, without damaging the silver or the delicate tiling.
So, the name of this ship is the Cordelia. Okay, and it is apparently it was apparently it was more of a exploration vessel. It didn't carry didn't carry much in the way of cargo. It didn't carry much in the way of passengers. It was a fast ship that could go between one continent and the other. So it was in the later age of sailing when cross ocean travel was a little bit more secure. Not completely safe. People still vanished, but it was a little bit more secure. So it was kind of probably a messenger thing or a scout thing, probably a exploratory thing by some corporation or maybe a government. How close are you to finishing up with the jewelry box, and does it produce any sort of music to it when it opens or anything, or is it just a flat jewelry box? Is there anything special to it besides the work?
Well, if it's been on the bottom of the sea, the chances the mechanisms for a music box wouldn't work after this long.
This is true.
So I doubt that it's a music box.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. How close are you to, let's actually say, to give you a reason to go to the museum, that you're getting close to getting it finished. And Indira has her getting her notes together to head on up, and you're planning on going towards the museum about the same time, sometime tonight. What are you doing? How are you going to be dressing to attend or to go towards the museum? What preparations do you have to make?
Well, I mean, it depends. It's not a formal thing, right? I'm just handing over this piece of work.
Yes, and I think Indira is the only person doing any. I think Indira's. I don't think there's a particular event going on at this point. Indira is just doing the general thing on the exhibit when it's a little bit less crowded, so that she can get more images of the pieces and such.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, just professional attire.
Okay.
Suit and tie.
So okay, I'm about ready to go. How are you coming down there? Is everything all put together?
Yes, indeed, it's done.
Well, you don't have to sound so enthused about it.
Oh, sorry, I've just been a bit flat lately.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Understood. Anyway, let's. Time to get going then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You both
Uh,
go on.
quick question: do I recover burnt tags and such?
It's been a month. Yeah, just assume you're all back to health.
Okay, and the tags and everything would be gone by now.
Right. I think you have a second tag on your theme, and
I do.
I believe Indira does as well, and I forgot to add that. Okay. Better for me to open up character sheets. Have you added the second tag yet?
Yes, a taste for mythos.
Oh, cool. What question does that answer?
F. F is what is revealed to you through the use of your relic.
That is interesting. So you're basically able to, when you say mythos, you're talking about the mythical quality of the world, or are you talking about like Cthulhu mythos?
Oh, the mythical quality of the world.
Got it.
It's a sense supernatural stuff. I worded it as a taste for mythos because that evokes, eating other mythos too.
Okay. Oh, eating other mythos. That's interesting implication. And for Indira, I'm making her second tag disaster averted to go with improbable luck. You come the into the museum on the first driving up. The Blue Beetle pulls up to into the parking lot, and you're walking up the steps of the museum. It is a grand affair. Um, Architecture is kind of somewhere in the area of Greco-Roman, that neoclassical type architecture that kind of swept through America in the I want to say 30s or 40s. You come up into it. There's quite a few people coming in. There's signs advertising the show of the ship or whatever. And you get in when you step into the building. The thing that strikes you most is that the air is very still. It's like the all you can kind of you can't hear any air conditioners going or heaters or anything. It's like you can kind of see out of the corner of your eye where there are workmen, the maintenance people working on one of the air conditioners, but it's just there's this. It's just like the air just is has no motion whatsoever. It's like all the wind from outside just completely bypasses. The exhibit itself is most of the main room. They've got actually managed to bring up pieces of large segments of the ship so that they're able to fit it into like the major display area of the museum itself, the central area. So the ship is sort of rebuilt, kind of held up by wires the way you would a dinosaur skeleton. Um, you can definitely see where the time under the waves has kind of done its damage to the ship at all, but and you can see places where there had been growths on it that cleared away. Um, around around the edges, you see different places with the treasures that were drawn up with it. There's coins and jewelry. You have your jewelry box as well. It's going to probably go on this somewhere. Um, and what other what other thing catches your eye about what display captures your eye?
What sort of ship was it?
Kind of a fast exploratory vessel. So
What era?
mid to late age of sail. It was probably about 3 decks, minimal cargo, crews, maybe 20 guns.
Yeah. So the display with the captain's saber.
The captain's saber. It's a what does the saber look like?
Um, let's see. Go. It's a it's a proper sword, so it should be Spanish steel. But fairly ornate. Probably has ivory. Has an ivory handle with some gold inlay at the hilt, probably depicting. Oh, let's see. Giant squid.
Oh, very nice. Okay. And there are quite a few like potted plants here and there that they're always there and around the museum for different just for a touch of coolness to it and looking nice. Um, the plants that are in place right now haven't really changed for the exhibit, so they're still kind of landed plants. Um, they're bushes mostly, kind of maybe very heavily domesticated palm trees that have been kind of given the bonsai treatment, not being allowed to grow as much as they could. Um, Things that look nice, really, but not too much trouble to take care of. Indira starts moving about, looking, uh, engaging her drone to start taking photos of the different. She's doing some pre-filming before she starts doing her speech and whatever. Um, as you're sitting there staring at the captain's saber, go ahead and give me actually a what's an investigate roll to notice something.
Alrighty. Can I tag, let's say, weird fortunes,
I would say
in,
yes.
insatiable curiosity,
Okay.
heart in the right place?
This isn't a conscious thing, so I'm going to say no for heart in the right place.
Okay. Uh, Oracle's dreams?
Oracle's dreams I'll allow.
Okay, I'm not sure if a taste for mythos would apply, but
Actually, I'm going to say it does.
oh wow. Alright, any modifiers?
Let's see. Well, you're looking at an interesting relic. I'm going to go ahead and tag the silver circle I can't let go.
Okay.
You're a very little bit distracted. Go for it.
I'll mark attention on that. So,
get to ask you get three clues related to some just things you notice off in the back of your head, mind, or out of corner of your eye. This is just
Hmm.
general circumstantial stuff.
All right. The problem is I don't actually know what I'm supposed to be noticing here. So,
Now, see the thing. There's a one way you can handle that is the other side of the clue, whereas you can determine something you do it. Like you can say, I noticed something weird, or I noticed something, um, and I have to decide, create something weird for you to notice. Or you can ask me any sort of question, and I can tell you something I already have in mind.
okay.
Or you can bank them and just ask them as things come up.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Okay?
Who's here that shouldn't be here?
Okay. So, as you're walking around, you catch out of the corner of your eye someone that does seem out of place. It is a young woman, about maybe somewhere between 16 and 22, so very young. Um, scraggly, scraggly hair, um, green eyes, and sort of moving about in kind of a furtive fashion around the edges of the exhibit, looking at things. She is not dressed for a trip to the museum as either. She has kind of got the clothes don't look particularly aren't particularly well fitted. They look like they're probably hand me downs or something.
Hmm. All right. Well, what time of day is it?
Okay, time of day.
Afternoon?
I'm going to say it is early afternoon, about 2 p.m. I'm not even going to cost you a clue for that.
Okay. So Vincent's going to casually walk up to her, take a look at what she's looking at, and say, afternoon, miss. Interesting pieces, aren't they?
Oh, yes. And she kind of darts aside when she's looking at the ship that's there. Um, yeah, interesting pieces. Uh, sorry.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't mean to startle you. My name's Vincent Chase. I did some restoration work for the museum.
And she kind of snaps to attention to you. It's like, really? What did you do?
Oh, it's not on display just yet. I only just handed it in, but there was this quite remarkable jewelry box. It's funny, whoever or wherever this ship came from, they was certainly wealthy.
Yes, yes. That was, but it shouldn't be here. I don't. Excuse me. Sorry.
No, no, that's all right. Are you all right, man? You seem flustered. I'm sorry if I was too forward. It's just that.
I'm. It's a little bit much. I kind of just came in to get out of the weather. Uh, and it's a little. I don't know. I don't. There is. I.
It is quite it is quite still in here, isn't it? I noticed the air conditioners seem to be on the fritz.
Yes, yes. They do. They do. Um, You said a jewelry box. Well, that shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, no, no. Um, yeah, I kind of like ships and things like this, and I'm just curious. I want. I mean, I did just. It was interesting. Just kind of. It was here when I came in. So
Ah, I see. Well, yes, like I said, it's some very fine pieces here. It was a pleasure to work on even some of the smaller pieces. I can't imagine what it took to reassemble the ship itself, though.
yeah, I mean, couldn't they have just left it? I mean, there were. I'm sure it was like in a home for fish or something. Would have been better just. I mean, most of the time they just leave shipwrecks, don't they?
Yes, I did wonder about that myself. I can only imagine it's some sort of publicity stunt for the museum. I guess their attendance must be down.
Really? Isn't the museum free? Why does attendance matter?
Well, a museum that's unattended is not servicing the public, no? So why simply have a drain on the public purse?
Ah, right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Um, yeah. Well, let's see. I'm just trying to see what's here. See if anything talks to me.
Oh, interesting phrasing.
Why should that be interesting phrasing? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. I guess in my line of work as a restorer of antiques, I guess I could metaphorically say that items talk to me in a way. The history has a way of leaving echoes of itself on the things we leave behind.
Yeah, yeah, yes, echoes. As as you're talking to her, you do hear a sound of a commotion and further on. It's somebody calls out in surprise
Uh,
in another room. You're not really sure. It's a little, it's kind of that mix between surprise and fear.
pardon me. I That could possibly be my roommate. I should go check and see if they're in trouble. It was nice meeting you, miss.
Yes, thank you. Um, maybe I'll see you again sometime. Yeah.
I would like that. Thank you.
Okay.
Sighing, Vincent goes to look for what has happened and is Indira involved?
Indira doesn't seem to be directly involved. She's sitting in front of. She is standing where her camera drone is, and it seems to be looking kind of gawking in surprise. But you're looking at what somebody has gotten tangled up in one of the plants that has been kept around for display for just. It's generally always there in the museum, and the it was like one of those large potted mini trees or bushes got tangled up in somebody's clothes and then toppled over on top of them. It's like, somebody please get this thing off of me. And you're looking at it. It's the what's the phrase? Cur the curator for the not the main curator, but the curator for the exhibit.
I see. I'm sorry, what's happening to him?
One of the display plants in the area had got tangled up in her clothing, and when she tried to free herself, it toppled over and fell on top of her. She's now buried under a tree.
Vincent goes over, kneels, takes a look to make sure there's no blood or anything on the ground, just a quick assessment before removing a pocket knife from his belt to help clear the tangles.
Okay, and as you start to go there to go clear away the tangles to get her free from the plant, the you notice, maybe nobody else does, you kind of look, you're pretty sure out of the corner of your eye, because a deer kind of comes halfway between a gasp and a "oh no, not again" voice. But the tree starts responding and kind of folding, the limbs of the tree start trying to pull away from the knife, or trying to clutch at it to pull it out of your hand. So if you could please give me take a risk.
Oh my. Alright, I'm going to tag plethora of arcane curios because the pocket knife.
The pocket knife came from the silver circle. Got it.
Yep. Um, tag occult trivia.
That'll work.
All right, I think that's enough. I don't see, unless heart in the right place applies.
I think it definitely does in this case.
Alrighty, any modifiers?
I think you're going to be somewhat distracted by your need to know.
Ah, okay.
Kind of studying what the tree is doing.
You gonna tag that, or
I got it.
cool? I'll mark the attention.
Yes.
It was take a risk.
Indeed, yes. Okay. Okay. So, your choice of the matter is, you can free the woman pretty easily at the cost of taking a minor injury yourself, or you can, well, you're going to free the woman. You can either take a minor injury yourself, or your pocket knife could get broken in the process.
I will take a minor injury.
Okay, so you're going to take a 1 point status of scraped palms, as the tree branches kind of seem to whip back at you as you cut them and slash across the palm of your hand.
Yeah, ow.
As soon as the woman gets pulled away, we'll say her name is Dr. Franson. I'm not using behind the name, that just sort of came to mind. Gets away and you pull back as well. The plant just seems to go back to being a plant, without, it doesn't seem to have any undue animation to it anymore. But you definitely know, and you can tell from Indira that she knows as well, that it moved.
Are you alright, ma'am?
It's like, I swear, tree was just out. It's like it was out to get me or something. Yes, I'm fine. A little bit of panic. Anyway, Mr. Chase, thank you for your help. I see you've taken some injury on my behalf. Thank you for your help.
It's no problem, ma'am. It seems to be part of my job description these days. certainly, certainly a right predicament. How did you get tangled up in?
I don't particularly know. I was going towards one of the exhibits and going to pull it out and take a look at it, um, and sort of what was as I was walking by the tree, it's like it was snagged in my dress, and would turn around to go try to undo myself, and I snagged my sleeve, and then before I know it, it was falling on top of me.
I see. A worthy entry in the comedy of errors.
She kind of rolls her eyes at you. It's like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to poke fun. It's, I would say an occupational hazard, but it's a life hazard, isn't it? May I ask which piece were you interested in? I've been quite enjoying this exhibit. Um,
I was going to look at the captain's saber. We're having wanted to look at its wanted to identify it, see, make sure we know whose saber it was. And she gets kind of a little bit cagey. She gets a little bit cagey when she was saying we wanted to do something, and she stops and pauses, and we wanted to authenticate it. I said, we wanted to authenticate it. That's what it was.
oh yes, of course. That must be a quite slow and engaging process.
Indeed, I mean we have the name of the ship, but there are at least five vessels called the Cordelia of this that are in sort of similar type classes to this one. It was a particularly apparently a common name at the time. Either that or the same Cordelia had a lot of boyfriends.
Ah, well, it could be worse. It could have been named the Elizabeth.
Don't get me started. That's like half the ships of the age. But
I
yes,
see. Yes, I was looking at the Captain's Saber myself, although I'm no expert in actually placing. Oh, wait, no, I am. Pardon me.
false modesty followed by I don't know exactly what that was. But anyway, do go on.
Oh, unfortunately, I couldn't exactly place it myself, but it is rather unique. I would say that such workmanship could at least be traced back to a maker.
Yes, you would think so. I mean, not many. The giant squid motif was not. It would not have been. I do not think it would have been considered a particularly good luck omen for a sailor.
Hmm. Wouldn't wouldn't perchance be a pirate ship?
It could very well be. I mean, pirates. Most pirate ships were these smaller vessels that they were better able to take control over. And Indira's off to the side, taking footage. It's like nodding and giving you a thumbs up from a little bit behind. It a lot of the pirate ships were a little bit of these smaller class vessels, and they were easily taken. I don't believe there was any. There was only ever the one or two ships of the lines that became pirate vessels. Blackbeard had one, but that was about it. So it could very well have been a pirate vessel. It's something to look into. Indeed, that is something to look into. There's kind of a glint to her eyes as she says that and kind of smiles. Thank you. You've given me an interesting line.
Well, these this ship appears to have been built for speed, and that was the hallmark of a vessel that would be good at the job.
Yes, couriers, messengers, exploration, scout ships, that whole category.
Hmm. No real match for a proper warship, but then that's the idea of being fast, isn't it? You don't take on proper warships. Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm pleased to have been of service.
Not a problem. You've been of certain service to me as well. Thank you.
Vincent will wander over to Indira.
So, pirate vessel. That might be an interesting lead in.
Yes, you did notice what that plant was doing, right?
Yes, I did.
I figured you would. I have a feeling that there is something strange going on here. We have too many strange people giving inadequate explanations of their interest in this exhibit, and then adding to that the business with the plant.
Okay, yeah. So now we're going to deal with plant monsters as well. Okay. She kind of looks around, make sure no one hears her say plant monsters. And okay, I'll have to edit that out later.
Well, I mean, technically the coconut crabs weren't monsters. They were just very large and exceedingly disgusting natural animals that happen to swarm in a species that doesn't do that.
Right. Yes. And the guy with the what is it? PK field, I guess is what it would be called.
Oh yes, the crab aura thing. Yes, there was that too. Well, look at it this way. It's a nice puff piece. It's alligator in the sewers territory again.
Yeah, I considered that.
Besides, it's not actually like anything's particularly being attacked or anyone's been particularly injured. The lady is fine, other than a irritating, embarrassing incident.
Yes, that's true. Okay, and what did you say? You said there was more than one person? I mean, she was the curator. She should be interested. But who else did you notice?
Oh, there was this other young woman here who seemed to have come in off the street, or at least that's what she claimed. She had taken great interest in the vessel and the pieces from it. Said something about wanting to see if any of the objects spoke to her.
Okay. So.
Well, I mean, metaphorically, you could say that many of these pieces speak to me, quote unquote. I said as much to her as well.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, so there's us, the young woman off the street, and the curator all interested in this thing. And okay, it is kind of still in here, kind of weird.
I had noticed that the air conditioning seems to be on the fritz.
These places usually have the air conditioning running even like during winter because of body heat.
Well, yes. Also, the having an even temperature prevents or helps prevent the uh,
Artifacts being, yeah.
helps preserve the artifacts on display.
Okay. I've gone and done a bit of my research here. Um, I'm not. I've been doing around talking to some of the people that are coming to see the exhibit as well, and I did catch a little bit of the person being toppled by a tree. People will laugh at that. I probably should get permission to use it. Probably.
Hmm.
Um, Anything else you need to do while we're here? Or should we stay here? Or do you think it's safe? You're not sure whether she means safe for you two or safe for other people to leave.
Hmm. I believe I will stay here and at least do some more investigating. I will understand if you do not want to get involved after last time.
Okay, okay. Well, I've done the research on the thing at least, so I can help you out with that. So I can keep you company as well. Besides, if I go home, I will just have to come back and pick you up later anyway.
Well, I promise I will attempt to not place either of us in any undue danger.
Oh, thank you. Okay, speaking of which, I should probably roll her investigate to see what kind of questions she got.
Hmm.
Uh, let's see. She doesn't have much in the way of research related questions. Reporter, filling the hours, I think is about it. Everything else is investigative, not investigative, interviewing type stuff.
Uh,
And I will tag not taken seriously. So she gets one, and I am going to choose that the que- the clues are fuzzy, incomplete, or part true or part false. So her investigation on the ship is kind of fuzzy, but you kind of expected that. But you get one question. I'll let you decide what it is. One question about the Cordelia or the find of the ship.
hmm. Where did this ship come from when it was operational?
It looks like a lot of what a lot of they could tell, it was operating out of the Caribbean area because in addition to some of the gem, the gold, the coins and stuff like that, it had some it had some barrels that probably at one point contained molasses and rum. So it was part of that triangle.
Okay. Alright. So we know it's called the Cordelia. We know what year it's from. We know where it was operating. We know it had riches on board. Like a lot of these pieces had, like we've been talking about gold and ivory and silver and mother of pearl and all of this sort of stuff.
Indeed, yes.
That's like treasure sort of ship territory.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What would be the most famous pirates operating in that area at that time?
There was a Captain Aristide Kelly.
Captain Kelly.
And she kind of does mention a couple of names. She's like, well, there was a couple of names, and she mentions a couple of them that kind of, racking her memory for whatever she stumbled across. You get the feeling she was already looking into pirates when she heard, sunken ship and treasure.
Yeah, they are puff piece fodder for sure.
Yep. And so you do hit upon Aristide Kelly, and it sounds like it is the one that talks to you the most. You're probably not going to find anything immediately. You're probably going to end up going home.
Yep.
When you wake up in the morning, there will be a headline news that an attempted theft resulted in the death of the thief. Some sort of accident. He accidentally got some. They're not really sure what happened because the cameras didn't catch it. But the thief was found dead, impaled on a kind of actually impaled and strangled by a plant.
Oh, that's not good.
And I think we'll end there.
Okay.
So time for geeking out with the credits. And I forgot to set a timer so I can, or to at least look at when we started. Yeah, we started about this time. So. Okay. Let's see. Cinematic moves, geek out during credits. How has the crew grown this session? I don't think there's much we can do to answer that just yet. So I think the Oracle Dreams is going to stay burned for now.
Oh, it's burnt. That's right. It burns after you.
That's the downside of crew tags. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which character had the most meaningful interaction with your character this session? And we can probably skip that as well, since it was kind of not particularly character development issues between the two of you.
Yeah.
And which of your themes is under the most strain? If it collapses, what new aspect will show up in its place? I think that's still status quo.
I think so. I mean, the only thing I can think is if I named heart surgery, because, well, but it didn't really come under strain this session, did it?
No, it didn't. We didn't. We need to probably start setting up things like last time you had the bit where you were choosing between a relic and the case, so that was a thing. But we need to sort of set up case situations where you're straining between the two. We did start a little bit of a myth arc with you starting off studying into the relic, and probably want to thread through that story arc throughout a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Which is what I guess the montage thing of getting into the mythos was part of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
So I think, well, this is kind of a lead-in piece anyway, so there wouldn't have been much development. But next time we get to start with the death of a potential thief.
Yay, something to investigate.
Okay. And I hope you had fun.
I did. Thank you very much for running.
No problem. And catch you next time, I guess.
Catch you next time.
Certainly can, especially in a thing like in a business like this.
Hello, Thrith.
Oh, sorry. Certainly can, especially in a business like this. Okay, I was typing and forgot to do push to talk because I was using both hands to type.
Ah,
Okay, let's let, let's see if I can type appropriately without getting lots of missed letters all over the place. Okay, I swear I did pass typing when I was in high school. Um, Architecture is kind of somewhere in the area of Greco-Roman, that neoclassical type architecture that kind of swept through America in the I want to say 30s or 40s. It's been a while since I've done architecture, so I forget which styles came through at which time. Um, and trying to
Right.
I trying to think of my. I've never studied the sailing ships, so I'm trying to think of a class.
No, no, no. I don't need a class. I just needed a ballpark. So, tag occult trivia. Attack the tree's weak point for massive damage.
We didn't say it for the crab, but we're gonna say it for the tree.
For
Okay.
the tree, yes.
Okay.
Right. I'm
So,
fe- I'm feeling a little like history's repeating itself. As I recall, the last case started with some good luck and then ended with a whole ton of bad luck.
this is actually pretty true, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. This is moderate luck though. You would have been in the the moderate success regardless. Um, I'm going to go ahead and have Indira Indira spend a help. Um, let's see. Yep, she's going to go ahead and spend a help so that make. No, no. It's more interesting to have a little bit of a glitch in this early stage.
I should probably have said who would be.
I'm going to use a made-up name.
This is good.
No.
Um, I'm sorry, how are we doing for time?
Let's see. What time is it? About 10 minutes. So this would be a good time to stop. In fact,
Hmm,
actually, if we could skip ahead to time to, because we can say that you're probably not going to find anything immediately. You're probably going to end up going home.
yep.
When you wake up in the morning,